Today on Investigate TV Plus, an extreme and life-threatening reaction to an infection affects hundreds of thousands of people in the U.S.
Did you know what sepsis was prior to what happened to you?
I did, but not the way I know about it now.
We take an in-depth look at an innovative test allowing doctors to diagnose and treat sepsis as quickly as possible. Plus,
You have to have the attitude to not give up, not quit.
a sepsis survivor shares her recovery journey to inspire others to overcome life's challenges.
Then a silent killer. Every year, heart disease takes thousands of lives, yet many people are unaware they have it or may be at risk. We give insight into what could be a ticking time bomb and why knowing an important number could save your life.
And bark to basics. Thanks to a plethora of pups, one woman discovers it's never too late to get a new leash on life.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
A high fever, chills, clammy skin, unusual pain. We've all been there, symptoms of a nasty bug that knocks you down for several days, but most of us feel better after rest and medicine. But for some, what seems like a simple illness can progress into something more serious and even life-threatening. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. A deadly condition called sepsis can happen to anyone who has an infection, and numerous studies indicate cases have dramatically increased over the past several decades.
Sepsis is the body's overactive and toxic response to an infection that results in damage to tissues and organs and sometimes even death. Researchers say factors contributing to the surge include an aging population and the rise of antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
With early diagnosis and treatment, many patients fully recover, but others face long-term health issues such as amputation.
We show you how sepsis forever changed the life of a Louisiana grandmother and inspired her to turn her losses into a meaningful gain. With practice and patience.
It feels pretty secure.
It does.
Good.
Each stroke of the pen serves as a testament to Chris Davenport's journey.
We're going to try again.
On this day, the Louisiana grandmother learns the intricacies of writing her signature.
That's so good. That's so good.
However, in March of 2022, another event nearly erased the life she knew.
Oh God, that day I got up preparing to take my grandkids to school.
Chris admits much of that day is a blur, but seared into her memory are the severe stomach pains that propelled her into a panic.
The first time that you felt pain, it was unbearable. Describe the pain that you felt the first time.
Oh my God, I felt like the worst labor pains with no anesthesia.
An ambulance took her to the hospital where she was treated in the emergency room. ER doctors diagnosed her with an intestinal issue. They gave her medication for her symptoms and sent her home.
I do remember the doctor in the hospital giving me something for pain and nausea, and it stopped.
Her relief was only temporary. The next morning, Chris says the intense stomach pain returned, but this time it looked different.
My family told me that my stomach blew up like I was 8 months pregnant.
Fewer than 24 hours after her first ER visit, she says her condition had deteriorated into the final and most severe stage of sepsis, called septic shock. Doctors had to place her into a medically induced coma.
Every hour that somebody is septic and they're not being treated, the mortality rate is going up by 8%.
Dr. Mark Laperouse is the chief of emergency medicine at Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He didn't treat Chris, but says sepsis causes the body to have an extreme and dangerous reaction to an infection.
Your body is trying to fight that infection, so as a result, it ramps up and creates a big inflammatory response.
And that inflammatory response can lead to one of the most serious impacts of sepsis, amputations. Think of the body's overreaction like a home security system that's gone haywire. During sepsis, the body's sensors detect a threat, but the response is too intense and widespread. Dr. Laperouse says during that overreaction, the body is more focused on protecting vital organs like the heart, lungs, and kidneys.
your blood vessels clamp down, you're not getting good circulation to those areas, and as a result, the circulation is what's feeding the nutrients that the tissues need, and then you start losing limbs.
According to the Sepsis Alliance, 10% of amputations in the United States are due to complications from sepsis. In Chris's case,
Take this off and then put back on.
doctors had to amputate both her hands and feet.
I asked God, out of all things, why this? Why not a stroke? Why not a heart attack? Lord, why this?
When Chris returned home after spending nearly 2 months in the hospital, she was convinced she would never leave home again because she needed help with her most basic needs like using the bathroom or getting dressed. Chris says when she was alone, she would become angry.
It wasn't even a spiral. It was a spring. That pressure built up. What happens when you put a lot of pressure on the spring?
It snaps back.
It snaps back.
This particular prosthesis it's a pin system. This is what anchors her leg into the socket.
And snap back she did. Less than a year after her amputations, Chris received prosthetic legs. Occupational therapist Allison Cotrier has been working with Chris. She says the first time they met, Chris needed a walker, but the next day,
She just like walked in. Like it's almost like she just decided she was going to abandon it and go. And she hasn't been stopped since, I don't think.
and Chris continues to make strides.
Go ahead and run through the different hand functions just to make sure you've got it.
She uses her prosthetic arm to complete household tasks like folding clothes and hanging laundry,
Okay.
and getting a cup of water for herself. But practice makes perfect.
There you go.
This would still be the most traumatic thing in the world for me.
Chris takes hold of her new reality by raising awareness about sepsis and limb loss. She wrote a book titled All of a Sudden, which addresses the obstacles she faced during her recovery and how she rebuilt her life. Another event she hopes will inspire others to rewrite their story and overcome life's challenges.
Now, it feels good, and to be honest, at first I was mad, like now I wouldn't have it any other way.
Chris's book is available on Amazon. The doctors we spoke to say it's very important to quickly identify sepsis, but they admit it's sometimes hard to diagnose.
Healthcare providers rely on a combination of tests, but a tool researched and developed at Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, may improve sepsis detection. In December 2022, the IntelliSep test received FDA clearance. The machine uses a standard blood sample and literally squishes white blood cells to see how they react. Researchers say healthy cells typically bounce back, while septic cells stretch or flatten out as a result. Dr. Bud O'Neill, who helped develop the IntelliSep test, says the technology helps improve outcomes, but doctors and nurses in the emergency department are the ones who save lives.
So our triage nurses are who sees you first, and that is the front line. And so with sepsis, you want to make that diagnosis as soon as you possibly can. And what we found is that we want to get this information into the hands of the doctor as quickly as we can.
Dr. O'Neill says it takes under 10 minutes to receive results.
Patients identified as having a high risk or likely septic start receiving treatment immediately.
Still ahead, taking time out. The #1 killer in the United States can strike without symptoms or warning. We explain how a 10-minute test and knowing your number could add up to a longer, healthier life.
Then later, a trove of lost treasures.
Our estimation for that bag is right around $2 million-ish.
$2 million for just this bag.
Right.
Billions in cold, hard cash and priceless property with no owner and nowhere to go. We provide insight into why an unexpected payday could be just a click away.
When it comes to heart disease, early detection can be life-saving.
And one of those potentially life-saving tools can uncover signs something is wrong, sometimes even before symptoms appear. The test is called a coronary calcium scan, and it uses X-rays to detect and measure calcium deposits in the coronary arteries, which are the blood vessels supplying blood to the heart. The scan scores from 0 up into the thousands. The higher the score, the greater the risk of having a heart attack.
Reporter Kim Clark shows us what happened after one woman was nudged to take time out to find out her score.
St. Francis Hospital Bartlett Administrative Offices.
Carol Harris, executive assistant to the CEO of St. Francis Hospital Bartlett, is usually on the go.
It's very, very busy, you know.
While on one of her jaunts through the hospital, she ran into the chairman of cardiology, Dr. Muhammad Janjua. Pretty common since they've worked together for the last 10 years, but this time the doctor noticed something off.
She told me that when she walked from her office to the cafeteria, by the time she reached there, she noticed that she's short of breath, her heart is racing, and some chest discomfort which she was not able to describe much, and wheezing at the same time.
Carol, a relatively fit woman in her early 60s, blamed her symptoms on an earlier bout of bronchitis and put off Dr. Janjua's suggestion that she take a stress test.
So he knew how busy I was, that I wasn't going to take a half a day and do a stress test. So he said, how about a coronary calcium score?
After about a month of cajoling by Dr. Janjua, Carol finally agreed to take a 10-minute non-invasive coronary calcium scan, which measures the calcium buildup in her coronary arteries. Well, Carol's score on that scan was 676. Normal is 0. Well, that convinced Carol it was time to finally take that stress test, which she took and failed. The following day, Dr. Janjua placed 2 stents in her arteries.
And he was looking at the blockage, and I had 99% blockage in my main, what they call the widowmaker artery, and I had 85% blockage in the other artery.
The stents worked in the short term, but within 2 months, Carol needed double bypass surgery.
It was September the 24th when I had my surgery. On January the 3rd, I was able to turn back to work full time.
Carol says she was in the right place at the right time, blessed to work at a hospital where a doctor spotted her symptoms on site, because many women have no idea they too could be on the precipice of heart attack or failure.
Their symptoms are, majority of the time, shortness of breath, extreme fatigue, tiredness, racing heart rate, mild chest discomfort or jaw pain. So if somebody is above age 45 or above, or having any risk factors, including like family history, are they diabetic, smoking history, high blood pressure, they should do a screening test.
Dr. Janjua says the majority of hospitals have coronary calcium scoring available. Any score higher than 400 is abnormal, and you should see a doctor immediately.
So it's a wake-up call, you know, to not have any symptoms except for a little shortness of breath that I associated with just running around, that the heart disease truly is, now I know, a silent killer in women.
According to the American Heart Association, a coronary calcium scan isn't always covered by insurance. It can range in cost from about $100 to $400.
Still ahead, boops, floofs, and words of wisdom.
It serves to remind us that it's never too late to find a renewed purpose.
A widow finds inspiration while caring for her granddogs.
But first, finding forgotten treasures. We show you how to check if you have property you didn't even know was owed to you and how you can claim it.
Ever find a $20 bill in your pocket that you forgot about? It's like one of the best feelings in the world, like waking up on a Saturday.
It's like a treasure, huh? Like, I got nothing. Nothing in my pockets now.
I have no pockets.
You have no pockets, so you have no money lying around. Well, across the country, unclaimed checks, old bank accounts, and untouched safety deposit boxes wait for their rightful owners to claim them. For example, in Arizona, billions of dollars in forgotten valuables sit in a secured vault 2 stories below ground.
Reporter Nicole Kreitz gets a tour, then shows us how to find lost treasures.
2 stories below ground at the Department of Revenue building in downtown Phoenix lies a reinforced vault guarding some of the state's most treasured valuables. Protected by a series of complicated locks and a 15-inch steel door. While it's more police evidence locker than pirate's lair, they did have a bag of gold.
which is very deceptively heavy.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding. Whoa.
500 gold coins.
I searched this morning. Gold is worth like $3,100 an ounce. So how much is something like that worth?
So our estimation for that bag is right around $2 million-ish.
$2 million for just this bag.
Right.
And that was in one safety deposit box.
Correct.
So it kind of gives you an idea of like a window of what's the possibility in each of these boxes.
Right, yeah, we have stuff that's just very historical, maybe not at like high value, but very like high personal value, heirloom style.
Vintage jewelry, watches, a lot of historical memorabilia that give you a glimpse into the past. Sports championship rings and military medals.
Rebecca Wilder says banks pack up anything unclaimed after 3 years and send it to the state, where the unclaimed property unit tries another 3 years to track down the rightful owners.
Sometimes the amounts are really small, but even so, we find that people are really happy to get that money back.
You know, usually what happens is like we talk to one person and then they're like, hey, I got something, and then their whole family does it.
Will Nagel remembers a homeless woman searching her name online at the library during the pandemic.
You know, when she came in and kind of grabbed that from us, she started crying because it was her down payment on a new apartment. So that always makes it worth it.
Bankers' boxes stacked 10 high on rows of shelves, some still sealed by the bank, all methodically cataloged before an appraiser weighs in on the value and sends it to auction.
So the oldest item we have here is, 1985.
Strangely enough, every year we find gold teeth.
All the money from the auction goes into a custodial account held for the owner another 35 years.
Last year, the Department of Revenue returned a record $88 million to its rightful owner. That's something we're really proud of.
If after all that time your money's still unclaimed, it goes into the state's general fund. And perhaps because we may never know the backstory on all this treasure, this diamond engagement ring or custom dagger with inlaid semi-precious stones and gold, it's even that much more priceless.
It meant enough to somebody to put it in a safe deposit box.
Anything that doesn't sell at auction returns to this room like that $2 million bag of coins, still waiting on an estate or heir to claim that nest egg in safekeeping until then.
Approximately 1 in 7 Americans have unclaimed property. Every state has a way for you to search, and there are a few national sites out there like unclaimed.org. It's run by the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators, and it has a helpful map where you can click states you've lived in. Missingmoney.com can also help. In Phoenix, I'm Nicole Kreitz.
Up next, a doting dog sitter.
You take care of it and you love it and then you give it back.
Finds inspiration in her pawsome pack of friends.
A Vermont woman could have sat and stayed at home after the death of her husband and beloved dog, but instead she decided to fetch a new adventure.
Reporter Joe Carroll shows us how she found inspiration in the canines she cared for.
Oh, hi, you're cute too.
At the South Burlington Dog Park, it's a place for dogs to run free.
You ready to go, you guys?
And for humans to reflect what their pets mean to them.
Joy, distraction.
Friendship, loyalty.
Brings joy. Brings joy.
What do you think, Lula, huh?
Liz Schick finds joy in Jericho.
Good girl.
She's a doting dog sitter.
So I love all my grand dogs.
This week, taking care of 16-and-a-half-year-old Lula.
Lula is greatly loved.
Liz has a handful of dogs she sits for. Lula is her oldest.
I don't know. I love them all. I really do.
Truth be told, her favorite dog that she owned was her last, Chloe. They both were there for Larry, Liz's husband, as his health declined.
She was with me through the ordeal, and luckily we were able to spend the last 4 or 5 days with him at the respite house, which was just wonderful.
Larry died shortly after that.
We sort of waited for him to walk into a room, and after 6 or 7 months of that, she and I said, you know what, we can't do this anymore.
She sold the condo in Colchester, and the two of them moved to Essex.
But this is where all my doggies are. That was Chloe when she was a puppy. Her toes were always painted. She was so elegant.
But a year later,
Good time.
Chloe passed away.
For the first time then, I really was lonely. It was the first time in 55 years I had lived alone. I was really stressed. And so when I'd go for walks, anybody with a dog passing by, I would stop and I would pet and I'd give treats. And
A new puppy would be too much for the now 84-year-old. An older dog, she says, would most likely need expensive vet bills, and the thought of another dog dying was too much. That's when she thought of dog sitting.
you know, you take care of it and you love it and then you give it back and you don't have any problems.
Along with dog sitting, she found the time to self-publish a book.
So it wasn't so much therapeutic as it was fun.
Dogs I Have Known Briefly or Well.
A mature woman's adventure.
Yes, I didn't want to say old lady.
Liz writes about what they've meant to her.
It serves to remind us that it's never too late to find a renewed purpose.
Back to Lula.
Whoops, we collapse a little bit, but then we keep going. That's guts.
A metaphor for all.
We're not going to give up.
Liz's book, Dogs I Have Known Briefly or Well, is available on Amazon. And that's it for us here on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm T. Chappelle. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, reading, writing, and their connection to the criminal justice system.
It is 100% a link that if you do not have literacy and you don't have an education, you are walking down a path of recidivism, criminal activity.
We investigate the ongoing battle with literacy in America's schools, the impact on incarceration, and a solution to improve reading comprehension and improve student outcomes.